Welcome to the Elevating La Cultura podcast, a space where I talk with Latinas who are passionate about what they do and are willing to share that passion with others to change the narrative, especially for the next generation. Each season is centered around different topics, but all with the Latina perspective. Welcome to a mini summer season as I'm out in Pennsylvania for the summer. All right, let's get into it. Hey, it's been a minute. I know, I've taken a whole few months off. Last season, season 11, wrapped in April, where we talked about all things finance. And after season 11, I took some time to focus on the end of the year for my kids. For those who don't know, I school my kids at home, and I've homeschooled them since the beginning of their schooling years. But the past 2 years, I've enrolled them in an online program, which has been amazing. But this was Elena's 8th grade year, so I wanted to take time to focus on supporting her across that finish line, while also supporting Elena in her ballet program. Along with this being Elena's 8th grade year, this was also the last year in the pre-professional program, and her exams to get into the professional program were in May. That, plus her end of the year ballet performance, was taking all of my time and brain space. So when I say it was a lot, it was a lot. So I'm like, okay, let me just take a break for a little bit and come back in the summer when I'm a little bit more recharged and not running on empty. So after the school year, we took a much needed family vacation to Mexico for a few days. I legit didn't even tell anyone. I didn't even post on social media, and I was just like, peace out, and was on break for a few days. Like, for real, I think I texted my mom while we were on the plane, letting her know that we were going to be out in Mexico because she was my emergency contact. You guys, I did not even take my laptop. This is probably the first time ever I did not bring work with me on vacation. Like, ever. After our mini vacation, we shifted focus because we were planning to head to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania for 5 weeks, which is most of the summer. You might be like, what? Harrisburg? And while it's not my first choice to be here, this is where Elena's career has brought her. At the beginning of the year, Elena started auditioning for summer ballet programs. Usually, ballet schools or dance schools will have summer intensive programs where it's like 5 weeks of intense focus on your dancing for like 5 days a week, 9 to 5. Now, she's done ballet intensives for 3 years, and this year, she was ready to audition for programs outside of her school. So she did a handful of auditions and was accepted into 2 programs. She eventually chose to attend a really great school in central Pennsylvania. And I'm not about to just send my daughter across states for 5 weeks alone. So I packed up my life, Elena's life, and Elias's life, and we're all here in an Airbnb in Harrisburg for the summer. We are currently at the beginning of week 3, so we're about halfway through. And the things I miss the most are good Mexican food and ingredients. Like, for real, there's nothing good here. If I would have known I could not find Mexican food, I would have packed up some chorizo, some crema, some queso, some salsa, some beans, tortillas, the basics. But I'm almost there, and I can make it. Anyway, over the past few weeks, I've been starting to plan for the rest of the year with another season of Elevating La Cultura and some events. And while I'm here, holding space for Elena as she's navigating the beginning of her intensive, I've been reflecting on leadership. Leadership as it pertains to the people that are leaders and educators in my kids' lives, and also the leaders that I'm in community with, and really leadership in general. Because when we look at our current administration leading our country, the so-called leaders that are in the positions of power are doing a pretty awful job at actually leading the country. They're doing an awful job at leading the people who they're supposed to serve, and they're being awful examples to everyone, which makes me think about the privilege that has gotten the White House leaders to be where they are today. They've led through manipulation, lies, gaslighting, bullying, and overall taking advantage of anyone around them to get what they want. My kids, who are 12 and 14, have better leadership skills, communication skills, and empathy than the adults in the White House, which has then led me to reflect on the intentionality I've had when choosing the educators and leaders that have an impact on my kids' lives. I was talking with my daughter last week after a day of classes. This was the second week of the intensive, and she was sharing some of the things she learned that day. And one of the things was like a major breakthrough in her technique. It was something that she had been struggling with for a while, and she had just come to think that she wouldn't be able to attain this specific technique. I'm not going to pretend to know all of the terminology, so I'm just going to be vague. Well, the first week, one of the instructors told her that it was imperative for her to improve on this one specific skill if she wanted to be hired in the future as a professional dancer. And at first, she was offended. But then, as the teacher really helped her break down the muscles she needed to focus on in order to help her improve, she got it. And with that, she was able to carry that knowledge to other specific steps in her technique. It was then that she realized how much she has improved in her technique in just a week and a half. And she's not even halfway through the program. She impressed herself, she made herself proud, all because she was able to push herself beyond her limiting beliefs, beyond the uncomfortableness, and work a little harder to grow her technique. And as we reflected further, she realized that the training she has been receiving at her school back in Chicago, shout out to Juliana, founder of Ballet 58, you can hear our interview together on season 10, for teaching their students how to quickly implement corrections, which is a huge skill to learn because that can be transferred not only to different studios that she will dance with, but also in real life situations. I'm grateful that my kids have great leadership models at such a young age that are not just telling them what to do, but encouraging them in life skills so they can continue learning well, continue asking questions, and modeling to them great leadership so that they in turn can become strong leaders as well. I've also been reflecting on my own leadership and impact within my community. The weekend we drove to Pennsylvania, many of my friends had the opportunity to speak and facilitate workshops for the Latino Travel Fest. And I was so happy celebrating their leadership as I drove and saw the behind-the-scenes IG stories and posts. I'm grateful for the friends I've made that are also leaders who are generous, bold, and encouraging role models who pour into our comunidad so we can all grow together. Shout out to my girls, Adriana from Adriana Talks Dinero, Stephanie from Rise and Thrive Latinas, Margarita, an awesome realtor, Sam from Hood Girls Travel 2, and Erica from Viajerica, which they have all been guests on this podcast, so you can go look up their episodes. But that is what leadership is. Pouring into the collective with our unique perspectives, knowledge, stories, and culture. It's empowering others to lean into who they are. It's a passing of the light to others so that they can carry the light in order to continue passing it on. Does that make sense? Sometimes the metaphors sound better in my head than they do when they actually come out. But leadership is also the balance of humility and strength and a continued desire for growth. You know, it's been a great time of reset for me, and it's usually during this time of rest or a break that I'm able to think of new ideas, plan better for the future, and just kind of sit back and listen to what my community is needing or doing. I'm looking forward to bringing you this mini season this month, and I've got a few guest interviews coming up, and at the end, I'll reflect on our time here. Maybe even get Elena to share a little bit about her experience. I'm also planning a few summer events, starting with a women's event in August. I've been learning some things about the changes in my body as I inch closer to my 40s and have started noticing just different things that I've been doing that in the past have worked well for me, and now it's a little different. I've been learning more about perimenopause and even working with a doctor to reset and balance my body from the inside. So next season is going to focus on women's health, and I'm kicking off an in-person event where I'm inviting some great speakers to be panelists and really get into the things they don't tell us about our own health as women. So stay tuned with that coming up in August. I am beyond excited. Okay, amigos, thank you so much for listening. Please rate and review this podcast so we can get more ears listening to these stories and continue elevating la cultura. You can also comment on our YouTube video if you're watching online. I always like to hear from people and how they resonate with the stories that I share. Okay, enjoy the rest of your day, afternoon, evening, whenever you're listening. Y nos vemos next week with a guest interview. Bye.